of Little Rock. So before we get started today, I'd like to invite Fran Carter up to do the five-way test, pledge, and prayer, and then Aaron Lubin is going to do guest introductions.
Please join me in the five-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Is it fun? We're going to have fun today hearing about Arkansas in the summer. And as I was thinking about a prayer for today, I came across a poem that I want to read to you that felt to me like a prayer, spending the summer in the natural state. This is by an American writer and poet named Cleo Wade, and it's titled Something Big. So if you'll please close your eyes or be thoughtful for a few minutes as you listen to this poem. I stopped searching for things I thought should belong to me. I started sitting in gratitude for what surrounded me. The falling leaves, the flowers, the break in the sidewalk, the endless sky, moody and magnificent. These forces of nature remind me I am one too. With relief, I release the small stuff. Very little belongs to me, and I belong to something big. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, life for all.
Good morning, Rotarians. First, I'd like to introduce our Rotarians and their guests, and if they will please stand up together. Patrick Goolsby, guest of our member Bill Goolsby. Allison Marquez, guest of Mike Marquez. Would you all please stand up? And Tabareth Delaney, guest of Rob Delaney. Glad to have you with us. And then it's always great to have visiting Rotarians from other clubs. We really look forward to that. First, we've got Greg Henderson from the Little Rock After Hours Club and Stephen Reynolds from the Little Rock After Hours. And their club just celebrated their 5th anniversary. Congratulations. And then from Greg, past president Greg, he's from Morrilton, isn't he? Today we've got, I hope he's here today because we've got somebody from the Morrilton Rotary Club, Jamie Higgins. Please. Thank you very much, and we're glad you were here with us.
Thank you, Fran, and thank you, Aaron. Also, Greg and Stephen are over here from the After Hours Club, and I wanted to mention they are having a really cool event, dinner and silent auction to see Footloose at the Rep on July 25th. So please visit Greg and Stephen if you have interest. They're selling tickets, and that'll be a nice event for the After Hours Club. So thanks for being here. All right, so it's getting close to the end of my term, so I can't believe this, but I'm running out of things to announce. But wait, we do have one more fun social for you guys. It's happening Thursday. Club 99, or Jay Barth, is hosting a Club 99 Pride Month social at his home over there in the Governor's District, Soma District. Karen sent out an email for the RSVP, so if you'd like to attend that, it's from 5:30 to 7:30 at Jay's home. Please let Karen know if you're attending so Jay can have a head count. I know it's going to be a really fun time celebrating our LGBTQ+ members and our allies, so I know I will be there, looking forward to it, and I hope to see you guys there. All right, so for our guests, each year the club or the Rotary president does a theme. This year for us, it's all been about the power of fun and where we're learning things together about why fun is important in our lives. And so I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about fun here, and then we're going to roll into our program. But this weekend, I spent time on Greer's Ferry, as I know a lot of you guys do, the lake thing. We were there with good friends that are like family, had a great time. I have a couple of tubing bruises, so, you know, when you're 49 and go tubing, you know, you're risking your life. But it was still a lot of fun, and it made me think, you know, that lake is just one of the prettiest lakes in our state. It's just so beautiful, and it really, you know, talks to what our panel is going to talk about today, which Arkansas truly is so rich in natural beauty. And so Catherine Price, in the Power of Fun book that we've been studying together, she talks a lot about nature and being outdoors as a great source of true fun for all of us. And it's because research tells us being outside, being among nature, does worlds of good for our physical, mental, and emotional health. It's why forest bathing has become a thing. Who knew? In fact, being in nature has so many positive psychological benefits that researchers now use the word outdorphins. So that's the good feelings that come from being outdoors. It's similar to the endorphins that we know about that reduce stress, reduce pain, improve your mood. So they call it outdorphins, which I love. And these are good for us because they give us a break from this kind of energetic noise of being in the human world. And it allows us to engage with trees, with birds, with bugs, rocks, you name it. And we live in a beautiful state that allows us so much access to fun and memorable moments in the outdoors. And I know the panel today is going to give us some good new ideas about how to enjoy the outdoor fun in Arkansas. So right now, the UK is winding down a 10-year tradition of that the Wildlife Trust started. It's called 30 Days in the Wild, and they do it every the month of June every year. And this is their 10th year doing it. And the whole idea is to encourage people to embrace daily, I love this, random acts of wildness. So anything from listening to a bird song, to sitting under a tree quietly, to having breakfast outside, to watching a sunrise or a sunset, just every day having an interaction with nature and the outside world and doing a random act of wildness. So I thought that is such a great idea, and the perfect thing is that we can implement that whenever, whatever, in the natural state here. So I know it's just ending for the UK, but you guys can start it here and do your own personal 30 days in the wild. And there really are many, many ways to experience true fun. Remember, that's connection, playfulness, and flow in Arkansas's outdoors. I know my family and my friends, we love it. We love camping and floating and laking and hiking all around the state. So I hope you can spend some time outdoors this summer and really, I know it's going to be hot, but maybe even just a few moments of those outdorphins will be worth it. So I can't believe this, but I'm about to say it's the last of the member videos that we're about to show. I cannot believe that, but this is our last member video. It features two fabulous Club 99ers and their passion for a beloved outdoor hobby that I know is pretty popular here. So let's take a look.
Hey Matt, there have been some great videos this year, but can you believe, I bet you 80% of the members of Rotary Club 99 play golf, and they've never done anything about golf. I kept waiting and waiting, it didn't happen. What do you think?
It's making me think that they don't think golf is fun.
How can you be being out here?
Well, my thing is I'm not good enough to be mad when I'm playing golf, so it makes it a lot easier.
Right.
All right, see what I got. Hi, I'm Matt Olson, owner of MapMon, a digital marketing and website development company. All right.
Oh, you're dancing. I'm Ellen Cockrell. I'm manager foreman in Southeast Arkansas.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a good one. That was a good shot. I thought I was going to stop.
I'm just a little too much.
When did you get into golfing?
Probably, let me think, when I turned 60, all these charities were asking me to play in a golf tournament, and I'd have to say, no, I don't know how. So I went out and took a couple lessons and said, okay, I'll do the next tournament. It's always a scramble, and I'll always bring in the top players.
There we go. I chaired the Bolo Bash golf tournament
Wow.
last year. And I said, well, why is there no girls competition? There's no female competition.
Yeah, here's the deal with women playing golf. If they have a couple extra $100, they're gonna go buy some shoes or go to the spa or something. They're not gonna play. But if you pay for the team, they'll come anytime and play with you. I've been trying for probably 10, 15 years to try to get women golfers in tournaments. Women are competitive, but they don't want to compete because they don't want to lose. They don't want to compete against someone who might beat them.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's very interesting. I just think it's fun to go out and play, meet new people, have great fun.
It's interesting you said if they have an extra $100, they're going to buy a pair of shoes, but it needs to be a pair of golf shoes.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt, when did you start playing golf?
Well, I started playing when I was 40. I'm 47 now, and I always said that I was going to golf when I got older, and then 40 was that marker. When I was turning 40, I said, if I don't start golf now, I'm never going to catch up. So I started going to Rebsamen and playing there with my friends. We started liking it quite a bit, and then I jumped on a corporate sponsorship at Pleasant Valley, and then a bunch of my friends were playing out at Chenal, so I joined at Chenal, and I was a member out there for 2 years. After about 2 years of Denver calling me and stuff like that, I said I'm in, and we only live 3 minutes away from the club, and now it's just a lifestyle. I just love it.
Right. So what's your handicap?
I'm a 10 right now, 10.6. And
Wow. In 7 years, you're a 10.
Yes.
Well, that gives me hope. And the next 10 years, I can be somewhere close to even.
That's right.
Well, how often do you play?
I play 2 to 3 times a week. I started off, you want to get off the tee box. So I did learn how to drive first, and then I learned my iron game. And now I'm struggling with my chipping and putting. It can really make you look bad. You get a nice drive up there, and then you try to hit a shot onto the green.
And I know that you've heard the saying, you drive for show, you putt for dough.
That's right. Yeah.
I think
I'm pretty
the short
showy.
game.
I look good, but I'm not making any money.
Well, I'm with you.
Thank you, Matt and Ellen. I hope you guys have lots of golf dates together. That's awesome. I was asked so many times, when are you going to do golf? That is really fun. I'm like, okay, we did it. It's awesome. Well, thank you guys. All right, so now it's time for our staycation panel. I'd like to invite Club 99er in Hot Springs. Well, I'm going to call him Mr. Hot Springs. I've told you that before. But Mr. Hot Springs himself, Brad Burleson's going to come up to introduce today's program. And he is dressing up for it, guys. Wow, the props keep coming. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to chit chat here with y'all while we get our props going, but they're so good. This is the power of fun, guys. Almost there. Woo!
Don't know why y'all are looking at me like that. It's my pleasure to introduce 3 remarkable individuals whose diverse talents have significantly shaped our community and far beyond. Leading our panel as moderator is the most dynamic Ashley King. As host of THV 11's The Vine, Ashley brings our mornings with a lively mix of entertainment and community news. Beyond The Vine, Ashley has also taken Arkansans on picturesque journeys across our beautiful state as the host of Discover Arkansas. Next, we have the esteemed Joe David Rice. Born in Paragould and reared in Jonesboro, this guy probably knows Arkansas as well as anyone alive. As the former Arkansas Tourism Director, serving under 5 governors, and the owner of an outfitting business on the Buffalo National River, he has dedicated his career to showcasing what makes our state truly unique. Sorry, I'm getting a little choked up. It's Bill Solider that's doing this, guys. Finally, I am excited to announce my great friend Bill, originally from Chicago and now a pillar of the Hot Springs community. Bill's innovative leadership at Visit Hot Springs has transformed our tourism landscape. His founding of Low Key Arts and the Inception to Projection film program not only revitalized local arts, but profoundly impacted my own life, leading me to a second career as a film and TV producer. His boundless energy, creativity have made him a legacy, earning him accolades and the affection of all who know him. Together, Joe, Ashley, and Bill represent the best of Arkansas. Let's give them a warm round of applause as we rediscover the joys of a staycation in Arkansas.
Thank you very much. Feel extra special today.
Indeed.
I'm Ashley King, glad to be here and talk about fun activities in Arkansas. I'm an Arkansan from Clinton, Arkansas. So today I'm going to be covering a lot of what happens here in Central Arkansas and up Highway 65 in our discussion. And we're going to kind of take different regions in our discussion, right, guys? And we've got Hot Springs to all four corners of the state. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to talk about just some of the fun, off the beaten path things that you can do here in Arkansas. So why don't we go ahead and start with you and tell us about some of the fun, off the beaten path things to do in Arkansas.
Well, sure. Usually when I talk to our group, I'm talking about Eureka and Crystal Bridges and all that stuff, but we're going to do some lesser-known aspects of the state. A couple of Northwest Arkansas, for you folks that have children, would be the Amazeum. It's one of the most spectacular children's museums that you'll ever see. So there's an admission fee, but it's really very interactive. Another thing in Northwest Arkansas, also in Bentonville, is the Museum of Native American History. A guy named David Boggle, his arrowhead collection got out of control, and he wound up buying about 10,000 artifacts from various indigenous cultures, and he has this spectacular museum, free admission, and children love it. And then another one in Northwest Arkansas would be Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge south of Eureka Springs. They've got over 100 big cats there, and if y'all been there over the years, you noticed they were struggling to keep them adequately confined. Well, they've got rid of all the concrete platforms. They each have at least a quarter of an acre of grass to roam around in. And
They weren't adequately confined, the big tigers? Is that what you said?
they were sort of embarrassed because it was just, it was hard to make sure that they had large enough cages.
That's important.
And one thing that's particularly great, if you want to scare the crap out of your kids, take them up there and let them spend the night, and you can hear the lions roar.
Oh. And they acquired some from the Tiger King
Yes.
series, too.
I think they got another 30 or so big cats from the Tiger King, and they're doing a spectacular job. So that's just 3 places in Northwest Arkansas that are sort of off the beaten path that I can recommend.
So you're from Jonesboro? Mm-hmm. What do you have for the Jonesboro area? And is that coming up?
2 places in Northeast Arkansas that I'm particularly fond of. Hemingway Pfeiffer House up in Piggott. You may remember that Ernest Hemingway wrote A Farewell to Arms in that writer studio that the Pfeiffers built for him. The Pfeiffers were a very rich family. They owned over 60,000 acres of land up there. And their daughter Pauline was Ernest's second wife. And they had the world premiere of A Farewell to Arms, the movie version in Piggott. And Ernest was downtown getting ready to go to the show, and he heard 2 local women complaining that they had preempted Tarzan the Ape Man for his movie, and he got drunk and didn't show up at the thing. Another
bitter.
place I wanted to mention is the Wilson area. Robert E. Lee Wilson the first bought just thousands of acres of land. He cleared it rather than selling it off like most of the land clearers did. He converted to agricultural land, built the town of Wilson, which is modeled on English Tudor style. And Galen Lawrence bought that recently, and they put in a new Hotel Lewis, which supposedly has the best bar in Arkansas. It's certainly a good bar. And one thing that caught my attention at the Hotel Lewis is that all the linens in the hotel, sheets, towels, bedspreads, et cetera, are made out of Mississippi County cotton. And it's very near, 10 miles away from Johnny Cash's Boyhood Home up at Dice. And that's another good attraction. Then right down on the square in Wilson is the Hampson Museum, Archaeological State Park Museum, which is probably the single best collection of Native American artifacts in the state.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of fun events there too in Wilson during the holidays and just throughout the year, having
it's a
festivals.
special place. It really
is. Any other parts of Arkansas that you want to mention when it comes to off the beaten path?
Well, sure. How much time do we have? I can talk all afternoon. Down in southeast Arkansas, one of my favorites is Lakeport Plantation, built by slaves in the 1850s. It's really the only remaining antebellum plantation in Arkansas. There's a slight admission fee. It's just south of Lake Chico State Park, and it's very well done.
Yeah.
Let's see.
A lot of great places if you love history.
History is good. You know, one thing that this state has done, and I'm going to get off target here, but you know, our country's made some mistakes over the years, but we're able to look at our history, I think, with a pretty good vision. You know, we treated the Japanese Americans badly, and we have the at Roar and McGee, the Japanese American Internment Museum. We've treated the Native Americans poorly. We have the Trail of Tears. Black Americans weren't treated particularly well. We've got Little Rock Central High. So history is pretty important to tourism. But on a less serious note, another of my favorite places in southeast Arkansas is the Arkansas Post National Memorial, site of the only Revolutionary War skirmish in Arkansas years ago. Free admission. You can see the first European settlement in the Mississippi alluvial plain. And for you folks who want to show your kids some neat places, they got alligators down there you can see almost guaranteed in the summer.
And they have alligators in Hot Springs too. That's a place that you can go and visit in Hot Springs. Let's talk about
segue.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the well, we did a Discover Arkansas there. I recently asked my nephew in Heber Springs, do you ever go on any field trips? He said, yeah, I think we went to a place with alligators. And I said, did they have goats and bunnies there too? And they had just been there, I think. So
108 years of the Arkansas Alligator Farm and Petting Zoo.
yes, it is remarkable because the family that is there, they've been running it for a really long time.
They have been, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me what you have for us today.
Well, first off, Joe David Rice, I could sit here and listen to you talk all day long. Yeah.
Well, not the rest of them.
It's an honor to be next to you. It's an honor to be here. I'm actually part of the Hot Springs National Park Rotary Club, and I often have the opportunity to speak to different Rotary clubs. And I have to say, walking in this room, it's one of the most like fresh and elegant rooms, and lunch was great, and you all are so special, and you have member videos. That's next level. I thought our Rotary was great. But you're exceptional because not only a 4-way test, you have a 5-way test. So well done, Little Rock. Club 99, what an honor.
They're trying to top Hot Springs.
Off the beaten path. So, you know, Hot Springs, definitely not off the beaten path with the exception of trying to get there on Highway 70, but I serve as the president of the Diamond Lakes Travel Association, which represents the 5 counties in southwest Arkansas, just southwest of Hot Springs. So I'd like to talk about Mount Ida, really. You know, Mount Ida, the crystal digging capital of the world. It's something that I think Mount Ida really needs to talk about even more because it's a tiny little town that's struggling to get by, but they've survived on that notoriety, being the crystal digging capital of the world, but also, and probably more off the beaten path than anything in Arkansas, Lake Ouachita, the largest lake in Arkansas, possibly the cleanest lake in the country, is also home to 200 islands. So I think that having the ability to boat or swim or kayak or paddleboard to an island and be able to spend time on your very own island or camp on your own island. This is something we only think about in the Caribbean or the Bahamas, but we have that in Arkansas. So that's something that I'm really love to talk about is the 200 islands on Lake Ouachita. And while you're out there, And speaking of history and great food, you always have to stop at Burl's Smokehouse. It's right on 270. It's this smokehouse that's been there forever in Crystal Springs. So they smoke their own meat and their cheeses. The beef jerky is incredible. But it's also an unofficial museum, I guess. You know, I think the former owner had collected all this Native American and Civil War artifacts that are just stored in piles around the smokehouse. So there's three things I want to talk about Mount Ida just a little bit in the Diamond Lakes region. The islands on Lake Ouachita, Burl's Smokehouse, I think are both exceptional things in Arkansas.
That's great. All right, a place that we're talking about off the beaten path, and this is somewhat off the beaten path, but it's right in the middle of Little Rock is the William Kirsch Preserve. Do you all know where that is? If you know where Baptist prep schools are, where the neighborhood is there, it's the ranch neighborhood. Well, right behind that is this amazing preserve, 234 acres, fields and forest. It's right there in the neighborhood, and you can kayak. They actually have canoe and kayak put-ins available there. They have 2 canoes, life jackets that you can borrow. They're available. Picnic area, fire pits, there's a fishing pier. It is absolutely gorgeous. I was scared to death to kayak, and I don't know if you all know Theba Lawley. She was with THV 11 forever. She and I did a segment together for a long time called Discover Arkansas, and she definitely had me doing things that getting out of my comfort zone, and so we hopped in a kayak there, and you would forget that you're just in the middle of Little Rock. It was absolutely beautiful, and we kayaked around that area. They even have like a floating camping platform that you can use, and so it's just floating. You can climb up there, put your tent on it, and stay the night in that area. But it's hidden. I don't know that a lot of people, how many people knew that was there? Raise your hand. A few? A few of you knew about it, but I had no idea until we went. But it's 3.5 miles of trail through these fields and forests, and then it's 1.7 miles of the Little Maumelle River that you can kayak. So that's kind of my off the beaten path place here in Arkansas. And one other place I want to mention, being from Clinton, Arkansas originally, just north of my hometown in Clinton is the Bluffton Preserve. And I've never seen more beautiful views than on this trail. I mean, Arkansas is such a gorgeous state to live in, and we have so many beautiful views, but this overlooks the Archie Creek, which actually is part of the Little Red River. So you can go there, hike, camp, fish, swim. There's a swimming hole where you can just jump in. Kind of reminds me of growing up there off of Greers Ferry Lake in Clinton and finding those swimming holes. But yeah, it's just very rustic area and very beautiful. And it's just north of Clinton off Highway 65. Another one of those places that you're like, I can't believe that's over there. I had no idea. But the views of Archie Creek are just so pretty, and you can kayak that too. So that's a couple of places that I wanted to mention. All right, so let's move on now to talking about let's see here, what is next? Some of those hidden gem restaurants across Arkansas. You kind of mentioned one, which is funny because, the smoked cheeses and meats. I have a place like that, but I'm gonna go with you guys first.
There's a new restaurant in Hot Springs that's been opened by a young chef named Joshua Garland, who also opened up the Best Cafe a few years ago. It's called Don's Southern Social Club. And what makes this special is that if you have to make a reservation to go there online. And when you make the reservation, they'll send you your confirmation, but then a day before the reservation, they'll send you a password and instructions on where the restaurant is and how to get in.
Wow.
So the building actually has no signs on it except for a small sign that's promoting an art gallery. So you can have 2 instructions. You can either have a series of numbers, which is a code, and you go through an old red, like England-style phone booth right off the street. It takes you into the restaurant. Or the second option is they just give you a name, like Godotti or something like that, something. And you go into a little foyer that's a small art gallery. and there's a host at the art gallery, and she'll ask you, do you have any questions about the art? And there's not much there, and you're in a tiny little room, and then she'll be looking at you and nodding, and she's kind of encouraging you to give her the password. And if you give her the password, do you want to know what happens, or should I leave this as a spoiler? I'll tell you what happens. So the bookcase opens up.
Wow.
And then you enter into the restaurant.
So this is like a speakeasy type
It's a
restaurant.
speakeasy
Right, okay.
restaurant, and it's really elevated Southern fare. You can get an incredible poached egg, for instance. It's just great. Or a blackened catfish and that kind of thing. And it's really it's pricey. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. And then when you're finished with your night, you exit through the kitchen. So you get to walk through the kitchen and walk right past the pastry chef on your way back out to the street. It's called Don's Southern Social. It's in downtown Hot Springs. Very, very
That's
special.
awesome. Well, now we know. That is amazing. Really going to work up an appetite by the time you get there, too.
It's going to work on your wallet, too.
Oh, okay. Keep that in mind. But I mean, it's an experience. It's not just dinner. You actually get the whole experience. What about you? Any favorites when it comes to places to eat in Arkansas?
Sure. I've had two great dining experiences in LA in the last month, LA being Lower Arkansas. One was at the White House Cafe in downtown Camden. It's one of the oldest restaurants in Arkansas. Very friendly service, good food, just right where the old railroad depot area used to be. And then more recently, I've been at Lefty's, a new restaurant in downtown Magnolia that has gotten a lot of attention. Pretty small place, but got chandeliers on the ceiling, a good menu. I assume your place had drinks. You didn't mention that, but Lefty's has a good drink menu too.
Oh, that's important. We're talking about fun, right? That's part of the theme. So a place that I have stopped in throughout my entire life, because my dad made it a point if we were driving anywhere north of Clinton, is Corsi's. Anybody been to Corsi's? So not a place that you always go to enjoy a full meal, but if you're my dad, you're gonna have to stop and get some smoked cheeses and a summer sausage to take home. And so that is a place that's been in business for decades, right off of Highway 65 in St. Joe. And they're also famous for their bacon. And I think certain times of the year, maybe starting in October to December, they will ship too. But Corsi's hickory smoked bone and ham, boneless ham, turkey breast, but you gotta get the smoked or the summer sausage if you go. So Corsi's definitely one of our favorites when it comes to hidden gems.
And what's across the street from Corsi's?
Is that Ferguson's? Yes, yeah, Ferguson's is great too.
World's largest cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, the guy that runs that or owns that or recently did, I think he was one of the guys at Dog Patch USA for a long time. And so my dad, he was a former drummer and entertainer at Silver Dollar City, so we're at Dog Patch USA, so we had to stop in there to Ferguson's and so he could chat with him. So as you can see, our road trips, we have a lot of stops on our road trips. We don't get anywhere too quickly. So yeah, a lot of great places to eat. I think we could mention a lot more if we had time, but we're gonna move on now to some lesser known festivals that are happening this summer. And Hot Springs, you always have some type of a festival. I know the Eclipse, for one, was a big event for you all. That was kind of a festival for all of us. And
How lucky are we to have been in the path of totality?
That was great.
And yeah, it brought me to tears. It really did. It was amazing. But yeah, Hot Springs is famous for events and festivals. Brad, of course, was one of our co-head judges at the World Championship running of the tubs. I believe that Brad actually he collected more bribes than any judge in the history of the running
you
of the
take
tubs.
bribes, okay.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk, we do that, and of course the World Shortest St. Patrick's Day Parade. Those are sort of like, we all know about those things. But Hot Springs has a great baseball history. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about it. So in somewhere around 1886, a man named Cap Anson, who was the manager of the Chicago White Stockings, who would later become the Chicago Cubs, he was trying to sober up his team for the season. And someone told him, oh, you should take your team to Hot Springs and hike the trails and boil out the alcoholic microbes in the water and play baseball. So Cap says, you know what the heck, I'll go do it. So he brought his team of drunkards to Hot Springs, and he did just that. He boiled out the alcoholic microbes, and he played baseball, hiked the trails, and guess what? They won the pennant. So all of the teams around the league were like, how did Cap get his team of drunks, in shape? Oh, he sent him to Hot Springs. So over the years, over a dozen teams, almost 50% of the Major League ball players in the Hall of Fame today at one time played in Hot Springs. Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson. The reason I bring that up is because we sponsor an event called Hot Springs Baseball Weekend. It's every August at the Hot Springs Convention Center. It's free for everybody, and we try to bring in only Hall of Famers to speak and meet and greet with the fans. It's become more and more popular each year, and this year we'll host Johnny Bench is coming, Robin Yount, who played for the Milwaukee Brewers, who was in my very first glove, and Tom Pagnozzi from the St. Louis Cardinals, who's actually living in Arkansas right now. So I wanted to bring that up. Hot Springs Baseball Weekend. It's a free event every August in Hot Springs.
And that goes along with the trail, right? There's the baseball.
The historic baseball trail.
Right.
It's a free, it's an app, and you can drive around or walk around Hot Springs and learn about all the stories that, went along with Hot Springs and baseball history. And just as a side note, we recently built up the Majestic Baseball Complex. It's a 5-field, beautiful, beautiful complex for baseball, not only for touring, like regional and national tournaments, but college ball, high school ball, and we brought back the Hot Springs Youth League, which had gone away for a while. It's incredibly popular. And at Majestic Park, there's one of only 3 Babe Ruth statues standing outside the park, which is the very place where Babe Ruth took his very first major league swings.
Right. That is very cool. And there's the place where he hit the home run, too.
Into the alligator farm.
Yes, right into the alligator farm. I just saw, too, there's a really cool new Airbnb with a baseball theme there. It looks amazing.
It's exceptional. I should mention it really quick. So it's out of the park. So someone actually bought this old warehouse that my father-in-law built. Which is crazy. It's a whole nother story. But he built it, and it's a Airbnb for 40 people. It'll house
your
the
whole team
entire
and then some.
baseball team,
Yeah.
their parents and coaches. It even has a batting cage inside of it, and it's right across the street from
It
Majestic
is so
Park.
cool. Yeah, you go on Airbnb and Google that. It's very neat. All right, what about some of those festivals, maybe the lesser known, that we need to know about?
Later this month, the folks in Newton County will have the annual Elk Festival in Jasper. That's always a fun one. Let's see, we all know about the Hope Watermelon Festival.
Right.
But there's another watermelon festival that I'm particularly fond of. It's up in Cave City. Don't know if it's up, I think in Sharp County. It's about 2 hours north of here. But their watermelons are known for being sweet, not necessarily huge like the ones in Hope. And I can recommend the Cave City Watermelon Festival. Then Mount Magazine is going to have its annual Butterfly Festival in a few weeks, and that's a treat as well.
Yeah, and then in Perryville, you've got the Goat Festival now.
That's true.
That's right. Yeah, I just saw that they actually won an award. It was given to the festival for its outstanding tourism efforts for the entire 6-county Arkansas River Valley Tri-Peaks region. So they're doing pretty well with that. I mean, and it is literally not the greatest of all time goat, but goats, the animal. It is everything goats. They have local vendors, live entertainment. They said, do not bring your dogs. Apparently the goats and the dogs do not get along very well, but there are a lot of goats. My husband is oddly, I don't know, he likes goats a lot. And so this is on our bucket list. We haven't been yet, but it's the first Saturday in October. They've done it for a couple of years. And
You might want to have him checked.
yeah, I know. I don't know. I just think he doesn't like to mow. I think he wants us to get him a goat, so he thinks that the goat can eat all of the grass. Another one that is in my hometown and it's at the Van Buren County Fairgrounds. This one has really grown. It's the 3rd annual Ozark Moonshine and Music Festival, and this year they have country band Lone Star performing, and it benefits the Children's Advocacy Alliance. And it's Arkansas Distillers are going to be there. Ozark arts, music, and heritage. They're going to be showcasing. There's a tasting bar with local distillers, and I think they're going to have several from across Arkansas that will be there with their products. So if you want to hear some music.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Tell us about the World Championship chuck wagon race.
Oh, yeah. How could I not? Well, a lot of people know about that, right? The World Championship chuck wagon races with the Oaf family on their ranch. If you haven't been, it's kind of like Yellowstone, but in Arkansas. I mean, it's all cowboy, cowgirl. But the coolest thing is just seeing their ranch. To me, I'm all about the outdoors and the beauty of the outdoors. And I was actually driving, we went to the Catholic Point, St. Joe Catholic Point spaghetti dinner in Center Ridge over the weekend, which is something else I grew up doing with my family. And so I took my kids this past weekend and we drove, through Formosa and down Culpeper to my mom and dad's house there in Clinton. And I mean, it's an area that I'm from, but every time I go, I'm just reminded of how beautiful it is. And we were talking about that as we were driving, but it's just such a gorgeous area. And the Oaf Ranch, where they do the chuck wagon races, it's not Eoff, it's Oaf, E-O-F-F, is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in Arkansas.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but so far nobody's died in those races.
I think you're wrong.
Brian.
Yeah, I don't think that's, I don't know. It is dangerous. I guess that's part of the draw, but I've seen people out in the crowd from John Daly, he's been there, and you just never know who you're going to see. There have been documentaries that people have filmed in like Switzerland and different places. They come here, people are just like, what are they doing in this crazy town with these chuck wagon races? But yeah, it is quite interesting. So you need to go and check it out.
It reminds me of the Emerson race down in South Arkansas where they have the World Championship lawnmower races.
Oh, yeah.
They have international guests. They even had a front page story on the Wall Street Journal about that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think people are surprised at what we do here in Arkansas sometimes for fun.
As they should
But that's
be.
okay. We like it. So aside from festivals, let's talk about Arkansas landmarks. One that I wanted to mention, I'll just roll right into it because you brought it up earlier when we were talking about the Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. If you haven't been there, I don't know why I waited so long. That was another one of our Discover Arkansas adventures. I mean, it interprets, the story of the Little Rock Nine and just the civil rights. I mean, Juneteenth is tomorrow. That would be a great time to go. I believe that they are open tomorrow, and it's always free. I know a lot of the national parks are open on certain days of the year, are free on certain days of the year, but this is free all the time, and it's just a great way to educate and learn about the struggles of the people that we're trying to integrate our schools. They get about 150,000 visitors or more than that every year. And they have ranger-led programs, but just artifacts, news clippings. There's original audio, video. It is very, very interesting, and it's just right here in Little Rock. Yeah, and it's gorgeous just driving in front of the school, but yeah, it's an amazing, going into the museum part of it and looking around. I highly recommend. Okay, what about you as far as landmarks?
This is a brand new one. About 50 weeks ago, the U.S. Marshal Service opened its U.S. Marshal Museum in Fort Smith. And it traces the history of the oldest federal law enforcement agency dating from the days of George Washington. Great interpretive exhibits. There's a small admission fee, but it's located right on the banks of the Arkansas River, supposedly where True Grit started out. So it's worth a visit.
Yeah, that is a great movie. So do you like the original or the remake? The original is the best, right? We can all agree on that. But the remake was good. Okay, so what about you as far as landmarks?
It's a more serious story. It's a landmark that everyone asks about, and it's hard not to notice it because it looms over downtown Hot Springs, and it's the old Army-Navy Rehabilitation Center, which is in a weird place right now between the state ownership and federal ownership. It's abandoned, has been abandoned for a while, and it's a real problem right now. It's not something you can go inside and visit. You can just look around it. But what makes it the struggle is that Hot Springs is built on water. So we're the national park surrounds us, and the national forest surrounds that. So you have this old building that's not being used and people are trying to break into, and it becomes a hazard, a fire hazard. So you have two things happening here. If one of the old buildings on the campus were to catch fire, it threatens the forest. If the building were to catch fire, the big old beautiful building were to catch fire, you have all of the product that was made to build that building, asbestos, lead, and whatnot in that building, that would then threaten the water table of Hot Springs National Park, and which is undoubtedly the biggest attraction in the state of Arkansas. So, you know, there's many people. Westerman is working on it. Dr. Jack Porter is working on it. I believe that President Bill Clinton is aware of this, and there's work happening in the back rooms, but it's a real problem for us, and that's not fun at all. It's really not fun.
But it is a gorgeous building. I mean,
it's something, yeah, it's gorgeous. It's really
towers
beautiful.
over
Yeah.
that area, and you can't miss it.
You can't miss it. It's a beautiful picture. I just hope in the future it'll be even more of a beautiful picture.
I hope so too. I hope so too. So anything new this year or that's happened recently? I mean, you talked about the Marshall Museum. That's somewhat recent.
I got something new that's not really new at all, but it's the historic Arlington Hotel is about to make its 100th anniversary, its centennial. And why I bring it up as new is because they're doing an incredible job restoring the Arlington. It's not a renovation at all. They are actually trying to restore it to its original grandeur. For instance, the facade of it, they went down 7 layers of, I guess it would be stucco or plaster, and got down to the original brick, and they're building it back. And if you've been to Hot Springs and noticed it, or if you go visit, just go take a look at the exterior of the Arlington.
Gorgeous.
It's new again.
It really looks beautiful, and I can't wait to see what they do as they continue those renovations. Quickly, because we're supposed to start our Q&A, just a quick, fun staycation memory. Anything?
Floating the Buffalo River in inner tubes from Highway 14 to Buffalo Point.
That was mine too. A hot July tent camp at that Tyler Bend campground and floating the buffalo. It was miserable and fun at the same time. And I would do it again. Maybe not when it's so hot. What about you?
Here's a staycation. 21 years ago, my now wife brought me to her hometown of Hot Springs, Arkansas. And it was so great. I picked up one of these little real estate guides, and I was like, what? How could this be this much money? And so I said, babe, let's go get a realtor on one day on vacation, and we'll just go around and look at property. The house I live in today is the first house I looked at that day. So I'm still on vacation 21 years later.
I love that. That is so great. All right, so we want to do a little Q&A. Right now, Amy's got the microphone here. So if you have any questions, I see someone with their hand up, a few hands up. Okay, so we're going to wait for her to get over there to you with the mic.
Bentonville spent $100 million on bicycle trails. It's world class and one of the top in the country. Y'all haven't mentioned any of that.
Well, everybody knows about that. What do you have to say about that? Well, you mentioned a few things up in Northwest Arkansas.
I believe Arkansas, outside of maybe California, is the second leading state in the number of internationally recognized mountain bike trails. And these bikers are coming from all over the world. I think the International Mountain Biking Team is training in Bentonville. The Razorback Greenway is doing good things. So I think it's going to be a big deal. And they're bringing the trails this way. Some trails going on in Hot Springs. Several of our state parks have got some monument trails in the works. So I used to love to do that. I've gave my bike away, but I'm enjoying watching others.
Sir, I'm a mountain biker myself and still ride 3 to 4 days a week. I've ridden around the country. I was an Arkansas state champion a few years back. So Bentonville's a wonderful place for mountain biking. And as Mr. Rice said, they are hosting the Olympic team is playing there. And the U.S. actually has an incredible mountain bike team this year. So that's really special. Bentonville is so popular because of its trails and mountain biking. It has completely changed the culture of that area as far as the people that are living there and visiting there. But it becomes Disneyland. And if you want to get on the best ride at Disneyland, you have to wait in line.
Oh,
And if you want to
that's
get on the
busy.
best trail in Bentonville, chances are you're going to deal with some traffic. So that's a good thing and a bad thing. Luckily for Arkansas, we have countless hundreds of miles of trails for people to get out and get more of a backcountry experience.
Yeah, it's good to hear that it's expanding throughout the entire state so we can all have fun. All right, we see another hand back here. We'll get that mic over there.
Two things. One is that Congress just several months ago designated the Cold War Center in Blytheville, Arkansas as the National Cold War Center. And there's one museum there now that's really interesting if you're interested in the Cold War era. And that's going to be developed. They're doing a lot of fundraising to really develop that into a world-class museum. So there's more to come, but it's also interesting what you can see right now. Also, I have a question. In some of these lesser-known places and off the beaten track kind of sites to see, is there any kind of website that captures all of these?
Yes, there are. There's a lot of different places. I mean, the Nature Conservancy is one place, the Bluffton Preserve, also the one that's just right there in the ranch neighborhood. They have both of those that I mentioned earlier. So you can go to the Nature Conservancy website to see those, but Google. That's how I found most of those.
Well, back to the Cold War Museum. I got a tour of that recently, and it's going to be fabulous. And they're on a waiting list to get a B-52 put in there, which will be a great draw. As for what you were asking about lesser-known places, the Arkansas.com website probably can do a good job of steering you to some of those.
Now, does that have the Titan missile? Does it talk about that too there at that museum? I know in Jacksonville, there's quite a few, there's a lot of talk there in Jacksonville about that from the Damascus missile explosion.
This Cold War Museum is just west of Blytheville, near Gosnell, and they got the huge runways there, a lot of the original buildings.
Yeah.
I don't believe they have anything to do with the Titan IIs.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's interesting.
I wanted to say, ma'am, if you're familiar with the website Atlas Obscura, it's a website that when I travel, I always go to Atlas Obscura, and they have what they call like the travel Bible of off the beaten path, strange, unique, peculiar places to visit, Atlas Obscura.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions? Okay.
I've got to plug something literally in our backyard. Speaking of mountain bike trails, we have some world-class mountain bike trails at River Mountain that the Walton Family Foundation actually partnered with the city of Little Rock. They're like Black Diamond, ski things. Have you been on those trails at River Mountain Park?
I haven't been there. No.
You should try those. So those even people from Bentonville wish they had terrain like that. They're very technical, very difficult. The other thing I wanted to mention is the kayaking, the preserve that the Nature Conservancy and our fellow Rotarian Gene Pfeiffer donated part of that land.
Oh, that's great.
That you can access right from the ranch, and you can either paddle up the little Maumelle to there's actually a new ramp at Two Rivers Park where you can rent paddle boards, canoes, and kayaks, and paddle all the way to Pinnacle. So good thing to do on a hot day. I don't know if I'd want to swim in that water.
No, I don't think so. Kind of looks
you can
snaky.
Pull off. So two things right here in the city limit.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Okay, last question. We have time for one more. We have another question?
I just have a comment. Can you get them to put the all the stuff that you talked about and send it to Karen, and we can get copies of that? I mean,
Can we do that? Send it to you all? I mean,
yeah, that way we got some of the
to.
places like you talked about. I didn't take notes, but if you can tell them, I would think that'd be great.
Yeah, we can do that. And maybe we can share some links too so that you can have those as well. All right. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Hopefully we shared some information today that you can get out and get some of those endorphins, right? When you're here in Arkansas, we are very blessed to live in the natural state and have all of this just right here in our backyard. And we, appreciate you guys. Thank you for making it easy. And yeah, it was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley and Joe David and Bill. I have to say, I've been to Don's. It was really cool. We always stop at Corsi's, so for sure, the turkey sandwiches there are amazing, and the summer sausage. But Bill, that alligator farm is probably going to haunt you from this panel, because the first time I ever got stitches was at the alligator farm on a Girl Scout trip, and I got caught in some thing that it was probably with the sewer system, we weren't supposed to be on it. It was like a circular thing, and my leg got caught in it, and everybody, but the story was I got bit by an alligator. That's what I got to tell everybody. So it's hilarious. All right, well, for you guys, we have a special gift for each of you that really actually is perfect for this panel, because it's a little something for your desk, but we did a mural about all the fun that's in Little Rock, and you mentioned some of those things, Ashley. So that's down in the River Market for people to just kind of take pictures with and have fun. But that's a little memento of the mural that we put down in River Market. So thank you guys again for a great panel. Well, guys, I can't believe it. Next week's the last meeting for me as president, so I'm a little sad and a little happy. So there's a combination of it. But unfortunately, Jeff Hildebrand is involved in next week's roasting of me, so I'm sure it will be quite a fun meeting to be at. I also have a couple of things planned, so it is going to be a not to be missed meeting again for sure. And then after that, you have a week off for 4th of July, so I definitely hope you'll be here next week. I know we're going to have some true fun, so look forward to it, and you guys have a great week.